Good evening, Wesley Church. This is Pastor Justin. It is Friday, February the 26th, and I'm bringing you tonight's daily devotion. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. It is Friday, and if that's not a reason to celebrate, I don't know what is. It's just always great to have the weekend before us, isn't it? We actually, if you can believe it, the month of February is almost behind us, and we're almost into the month of March. It seems crazy that that's true for us, but here we are. And so as you settle down tonight into our time of devotion, I just invite you to let the past week, the past month, just flow away from you, and just let it go. Let it be a part of the past, and center yourself in the here and the now. You're going to need your Lenten kit and tonight for our devotion, so grab that, and in there you'll find your little purple Lenten candle. Go ahead and light that candle and set it in your sacred space where you've gathered for devotions this evening. That's to remind us of the presence of Christ amongst us as we do our devotion together. I also want to encourage you to pull out of that Lenten kit your item that you'll need tonight. This is a little bag of straw, and I hope you have one of those in front of you. You can pull that out. You can make it a part of your sacred space for Lent if you want to. I'm going to leave mine in the baggie as I'm really allergic to this stuff, so I'm going to just set that aside and let that not be a part of my own personal Lenten space. But we're going to be talking about straw in tonight's story, which comes to us from Exodus 5. And I'm going to read from the New International Version tonight as I share the scripture with you. So let's hear these words from scripture together. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness." Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord, that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. Or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work." Then Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working." That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people: "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Do not reduce their quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies." Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says. I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw." And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, "Why haven't you met your quota of bricks yesterday or today as before?" Then the Israelite overseers went and appealed to Pharaoh. "Why have you treated your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we're told, 'Make bricks.' Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people." Pharaoh said, "Lazy, that is what you are, lazy. That is why you keep saying, 'Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord.' Now get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks." The Israelite overseers realized that they were in trouble when they were told, "You are not to reduce the number of bricks required of you for each day." When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them, and they said, "May the Lord look on you and judge you. You have made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials, and have put a sword in their hand to kill us." Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Why, O Lord, have you brought trouble upon your people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people, and you have not rescued your people at all." And that's the end of chapter 5. You'll have to tune in on Sunday to hear the rest of the story when we start chapter 6 in the sermon. But for tonight, we're going to focus on chapter 5. We're going to focus on this particular portion of chapter 5 in which the Israelite people get so frustrated with Moses and Aaron for doing God's bidding. It's interesting to me that this story occurs in the way that it does, because what it shows is it really just reveals human nature, which is to be so confident of our own perception that we fail to see what's really happening. Right? We all do this, right? We get our narrow blinders on and we get sort of set on what we think is happening in the world, that we fail to realize either A, something else entirely is going on that we just can't see, or B, maybe God is using that situation in a way that we're also not really able to understand just yet. Scripture says that God works for the good of those who love him. This is one of those stories, I think. This is one of those instances when God's people are so sure of what is going on that they get mad with Moses and Aaron. What they fail to recognize is that God is using the anger of Pharaoh to further his purpose of delivering the Hebrew people from slavery. We do this so often, church. We fail to see how God can be working even in the midst of a bad situation. We get our blinders on and we fail to see what's going on around us. It's not our fault, really. We can't always see what God is up to, right? God is so far beyond our imagination. God could be working right at this very moment and we wouldn't be able to perceive it. As a matter of fact, I would argue God probably is. But the point is, we don't always see what God is up to. And sometimes I think it's important, especially when we're angry, that we take a moment, double count, calm ourselves down, and ask God, Lord, how are you going to use this situation? Situation in which I feel so wronged to bring about good. Church, this is so, so important that we learn how to be observant of what God is doing. God is always at work. We just might not be able to see it every single moment. I wonder what God's doing in your life tonight. And I encourage you, as your head hits the pillow this evening, to say a prayer to God. God, help me to see just what you're up to. In your time or in my time, just help me to see what you're up to. Because I want to be a part of your great big plan. It's my prayer for you tonight, church. It's my prayer for me tonight. And I hope you have a great, blessed evening and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time.